everyone.
Hey, good morning.
My pleasure to be here again. And now we have, not very usual set of hosts. So, Kenan, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, hey, my name is Cannon, one of the SIGs that has been working, aggregating the information from the various market makers that were looking to help the project on liquidity, things like that, on some of the centralized exchanges. And so QX couldn't be here, and he literally 3 minutes ago said, hey, get your ass on here and be a pretty face to talk to people. So I apologize for seeing my face, but we'll answer questions as best we can.
Actually, maybe it would be good to get, a different perspective on SIGs from
possibly.
inside. So Joe also, I saw him in a very late night, so just a few hours ago online, so probably he's just sleeping. All right, so let's start with news, right? So 1 week ago, XGEX listing was announced, and it went surprisingly well. So within 24 hours, funds were raised for listing. So listing was paid on Friday. And it was confirmed on Monday, and we are waiting for integration to get done now. XGEX is a kind of modern version of Ergo, so an exchange popular among miners, especially of miners doing speculative mining of new cryptocurrencies. It's a bit strange that Ergo is still not there, but yeah, we will be fixed soon. So it's also 5 or 6 times bigger than non-KYC. And non-KYC is doing better and better as well. So, I checked it recently, and it seems it's getting more liquidity to its liquidity pools. So it has liquidity pools. XGEX also has, so it will be possible to just provide liquidity in a couple of clicks and getting profits pretty much like with DEX, but with risks of centralized exchange also. So don't put anything significant there as usually with centralized exchanges. But still. Very good. So I believe liquidity pools actually made CoinEx popular back in 2020. Still a lot of liquidity there, especially on Ergo USDT pair. So it's about 200 K USDT there. And because of that spread and order book, they're always good, right? So back in 2020, order books were not good everywhere. Back then, the main exchange was Hotbit, I believe, before CoinEx, and with CoinEx, things got much better. All right, and there are a lot of talks about starting a raffle for Maxi listing. So, let's see. there are a few efforts going on in parallel. But also, there are some requirements from XC in regards with market making, right? So they do not have anything simple like pools on CoinX, non-KYC exegex. So, let's see. So, yeah, maybe Kenan, you can provide then how talks with MMs are going. So maybe it's a bit disturbing, right? Talk with such guys.
No,
No.
yeah, no. I was excited about the exegex, or however the hell you say that name, listing. It's been I was spec mining. That's how I got into this just a couple of years ago, and came to Erg because of the technology and the platform and a lot of the tools that are there. I think it's sort of unparalleled on the proof of work side. So um, one of the common refrains that I see from a lot of the influencers, but also just inside of mining pools that I see is mine the most lucrative and trade to actually what you want to hold, and that's what I've done. And so that's one of the reasons I was excited to see or get listed here in the coming days, because that is the pool, or that is the exchange that so many miners use for the new proof of work coins that, let's face it, a lot of them won't be here in a little bit, but if they're making profit, they can switch into Erg or, whatever else they like. So I'm happy with that. And then the other thing, I've been a part of the LP pools on CoinX back before they were banned in the US. I'm just not comfortable having a VPN and having my coin on something I might get banned out of because I'm VPNing into. But yeah, I think those are also good options for folks to help when this listing comes on, is throw a few ERG and USDT on the listing to help the liquidity there. And yeah, just real quick, I mean, for folks that weren't in the general chat on Sunday, the SIGs, I'm one of them with QX, and Austin from Greasy Sex. We've been meeting with, I think, 5 market makers thus far, trying to figure out, a strategy for trying to take that off the plate of the Ergo Foundation so that they can really focus on. I hate that liquidity has been part of the mission or part of the call for the Ergo Foundation. It should be, growing the ecosystem, which obviously access is one of the, main things. But if we can handle that, that would be great. So yeah, right now we're crafting up basically a 2-pronged approach. One is looking at providing incentives to devs to create sort of like the Hummingbot, come up with a true almost marketplace for people to run their own bots. You show that you have done it in a way, KYC yourself through Discord and other, Twitter, whatever. Get a small loan, show that you're actually able to trade successfully with that small loan. You can earn a % off of that, but then effectively we might be able to create our own market makers just through our own community. That's going to be fleshed out and presented here in the next couple of days. The more traditional approach has come down to retainer-based, which is what the Ergo Foundation has been using for market makers for the last few years, which you pay a monthly fee, supply the liquidity, and then somebody, market maker, has to cover that 2% spread and try to keep volume at certain levels, as some exchanges require certain volume requirements. That's how they make money. So those two proposals will be getting pushed out here to the SIGs and to the general community, hopefully this weekend. So yeah, I mean, that's the quick update from that side. So I have no other updates at this point. So I guess we can jump into questions. Do you have any that you're seeing here you want to tackle?
Yeah. So well, in regards with other news happened. Well, there was amazing P2P trading tool in form of a browser extension done as a kind of personal weekend hackathon by an Unreal, right? And well, some news about Auction House and Rosen Bridge joint work. Well, just today, have you read it? So it was that they are going to basically develop this space of facilitating peer-to-peer trading, and also well, we'll do something on packaging. Token packages, so kind of funds, right? Like index funds or something like that. From my understanding, but yeah, maybe closer to dev update video, it will be better understanding around community and better coverage as well. So there was pretty intense developers chat yesterday, and I'm personally working, hopefully finalizing initial notes on developers DAO. I am willing to propose this writing for discussions, maybe today even, but let's see. So, well, finalizing it anyway. So the idea of mine is how to do some DAO or DAO-like cyberspace-based entity to do research and development and maintenance of existing infrastructure, like explorers, wallet libraries, and so on, in a transparent way, and how to find funding for that. So, well, I'm talking with some friends in crypto funds, and well, it's interesting because, well, those crypto funds, well, mostly they're just doing simplest and quite dirty things, unfortunately. So like grabbing the distribution of tokens and pumping them basically, and then dumping on public, on retail. Yeah, sorry.
With the DAO you're thinking about, is it something akin to IOHK that you came out of or came into and out of, or is it more focused strictly on Ergo? Or is it more EUXTO broad, or I mean?
Yeah, so in regards of development, you take so, but well, in regards with research, yeah, so well, I'm thinking in particular that this DAO can work with UTXO Alliance, right? And joint topics we have like UTXO programmability. What else we discussed? We had a workshop on off-chain techniques for UTXO-based systems, so from Lightning Network to Hydra and so on. There are other topics which can be interesting outside of the Ergo ecosystem, like sidechain constructions, right? Proof of work. So, with IOG, we had some talks about utilizing proof of useful work schemes and so on. So, I guess this also can be now a part of a broader community of DAO.
Okay. So I'm hearing it's not necessarily just the Ergo then. I mean, you're going to be reaching out to your contacts, obviously.
So it could be a little bit broader, right? So, it's can include research in proof of work, right? Proof of work based protocols, side chains, off chain protocols. But this is affecting Ergo after all, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So it's not about I don't know, delegated proof of stake, right, or something very distant.
Perfect.
All right. Okay.
Let me ask you a quick question, Alex. Just what is your take on market makers in general? I mean, I know the foundations had to do it as a necessary evil for some of the listings, but what's your take on the proposal of trying to create a way to have bots doing it versus hiring it out?
I'm not fond of spending time on that, right? But I have to. So, because of different threads from different centralized exchanges. Right, I was involved in different market making activities, right? So, Ergo Foundation does have market making on two exchanges, right? As far as I know, KuCoin, KuB. But then back in 2020, when there was a Gate.io listing. So now, it's usually the biggest exchange, right, by volume, often at least. And back then, so it was listing, right? It was a huge exchange. After listing, volume was about zero, right? And it was the case for like 6 weeks. And then to avoid delisting and so on, and to improve situation. What I personally did after pinging Ergo Foundation. I took some ERGs initially, right, and I did create grids, right? So, I didn't have time to write a bot or whatever. Not sure about hummingbirds at the time, but anyway, I'm not trader, right? So I don't know about those trading strategies of the complex stuff.
Right.
So I just created grids and they worked well, actually. So after some time, it was a dynamic grid. So when someone bought from the grids. A buy order was created after a sell order field, for example, right? Order book was always busy with orders created by the dynamic grid. Perception got much better, right? Much better spread and so on CoinGecko, Market Cap probably also. I'm not using CoinMarketCap.
Yeah, me neither.
CoinGecko is much better. It was Ergo USDT pair, I guess only initially, but then there is natural arbitrage coming from Ergo to ETH par. So for some reason, Gate.io does have two pairs, so Ergo USDT and Ergo ETH. No Ergo BTC, so I asked them a few times about BTC pair, but always ignored for some reason. I don't know. Because of arbitrage, you also have additional volume, right? Additional interest, and then because of that, traders appeared, and because of traders coming, some other market makers also appeared, right? So, currently, I think there are no grids there by Ergo Foundation. But order books are good, right? So it's kind of a chicken and egg problem, right? So, you need to have order books, and then traders will come, and when traders are coming and trading, liquidity providers are coming, right, to profit from swings from market activity. All right, and then after Gate.io, so it was KuCoin hobby, but also, after all, for some exchanges, because they had market making requirements, I had to write even some simplest bots. So, for example, on bitcoin.com, now FMFW, so they do have only static grids, right? So when your order is filled, it's not recreated. So I made simple bots which made dynamic grid. After sell order is filled, it created buy order automatically. And so on. So, I am capable to do only very simple stuff, right? Because, I'm not trader. I don't understand, and to be honest, I'm very skeptical about such things as technical analysis and so on. It's to me, it's philosophically flawed. So you kind of trying to read future from the past, right? And thinking it's working, but it's not obvious at all why it could work, even theoretically.
That's funny.
For some exchanges, I had to do such simple stuff, which is just providing liquidity, because an exchange always has some requirements, right? Well, for order books, spread, and so on. So, it's rarely the case when you can get listing, especially for free, right? So, for like half of exchanges, listings were free, but then there are requirements for order books and so on. These days, I think, it's It's easier to invite community, right, to market making, because currently even putting something on spectrum pools is already kind of market making, which is
Right.
like the provision, which is improving situation on centralized exchanges as well, right? Because it's now open system, right? Because of bridges. Now there are arbitrage possibilities between spectrum pools and Cardano DeFi, for example, and also centralized exchanges to some degree. I think with Ethereum pool and BTC bridge, there will be much more arbitrage possibilities, right? And so more liquidity.
Yeah.
And even providing liquidity on Ergo dexes. Already improving things on centralized exchanges. And
Yeah. Like,
also less risky, right, than using centralized exchanges.
yeah, like your knock on technical analysis using the past to look at the future. That was my old CEO that got ousted after he made like $150 million off our public company. He'd always bitch at the accountants and say, "You're always looking in the past. Can you drive my fucking Ferrari only looking in the rearview mirror?" And everyone just sit there. And he's like, "No, you got to look forward. I don't care about all that. Just get out of my way. We got to keep moving. We can't worry about the past." And that's always been the same kind of knock on technical analysis. You're looking at the past, trying to figure out, what's going to happen in the future instead of looking at what's actually being created currently or the plans for the future.
Yeah, well, actually, past can repeat itself, right, in future. It could be the case. So it's
Sure.
I'm not denying that. The question is, how can you be sure about that? So then I don't know. It's probably then decided by intuition of a trader, right? But I don't have any intuition in regards with trading. I mean, that's not a very known field to me.
Yeah.
All right, so let's jump on the questions.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'll answer one real quick from Wombo on duck pools.
right.
The question is the thoughts regarding the duck pools proposal that was passed. I hadn't used duck pools. I started looking at it when I saw the interest rates gained on Sig USD. Honestly, I started digging into it, asking Kravis a lot of questions around, how can I see the loans that are outstanding? How can I see when they're maturing? That kind of thing. And it sort of led me to the realization that if you've lent out your money into the pool, someone could borrow it for 400,000 blocks. So it was about approximately 18 months. And my concern was, I'm always concerned someone's going to eat my lunch, right? So the concern was someone can front run, get asymmetric information and front run, hey, in the next 100 blocks, someone is going to have to repay a big loan. The smart contracts were written in version 1 that's deployed in such a fashion that interest is only paid to the lenders at the time that the loan is repaid. So you don't get credit for funding that loan the whole time. So we basically changed it to approximately a 90-day loan period so that lenders can get interest more frequently. And it sort of stops the front running because you basically have to dump money and keep it into the duck pools throughout the process. But I was just ecstatic. Kravis and the team there were bending over backwards to get me answers and get me information. And, they've been doing the same for some other people. I think it's a neat project. But anyway, we shortened the length that you can borrow on duck pools basically in this version 1 and version 2 that they're going to hopefully fundraise for in the next 3 to 6 months. Interest is dynamic, so you earn a cut of the interest every day instead of just a repayment of the loan. So that proposal will be basically moot at that point, but it's sort of a stopgap until that second phase of the project is completed.
All right, so maybe you can take another question from Ursa Miner 2010. Science Canon was a CPA in a former life. Please comment on the tax consequences of being MM. Oh,
yeah, it's all going to be 3 things, right? Your jurisdiction, if you pay taxes, and if you're concerned that you're running up a tax balance by not reporting. Myself, with the other things I do in life, I have to pay taxes, and I'm not gonna get in trouble over crypto. So I won't be participating as if we create a humming bot and being the market maker, it's too complex. Last year for a US filing, I think I had a standard filing is maybe like 6 to 12 pages for me. Last year with crypto added on it, I think it was like 400 or 500 pages long of just data because of sort of the antiquated nature of the US filing system. It's not all electronic, or they can't accept electronic sometimes if you have a certain volume of crypto trades, it rejects back out. But yeah, I was never a tax CPA. I only did it to be able to understand finance deals and the intricacies of the accounting rules. So tax consequences, I hate to tell you, they're there. It depends if you're really worried about it. Most people I speak to online are not worried about it, but they've also not had to speak with the IRS on numerous occasions that I have in past life. And, it's nothing I want to have to be a part of on my own and not part of a bigger company with good attorneys and lawyers helping deal with the IRS. So it's complicated in the US. Anything you mine is considered income. And then when you sell it, you have to record the gain difference between those. So it's a constant. They're trying to make everyone into a big spreadsheet. It's a little hard. So anyway, myself, I won't be able to do it because I think it's going to be too complex of a reporting requirement. But that's what I like about Erg. I think there's a lot of the community that's not based in the U.S. So I think there's a lot of opportunity for folks outside the U.S. to do it, or folks inside the U.S. that aren't really concerned. So anyway, long answer, but
also it should be similar to portfolio rebalancing, right? So basically, when you are doing so you just have some portfolio which is in rebalancing process.
It would be great. That's how I'd treat it. I look at the wallet at the start and end of the year and sort of make up a narrative to capture, the rough changes. I think that's good enough. But technically, as an if you're in the States, every trade you're going to have to figure out gain loss, and anytime anything hits your wallet. And so that might be the loophole, is if you keep it off wallet and it's on the exchange, then it's not in your wallet. But it's a pain. There's a lot of a lot of transactions if you're running bots to try to keep track of.
All right. So, yeah, then, yeah, let me answer the question by Wombo22. Question for Kushti. Can you speak about the Ergo data set size approaching 4 GB? How does this affect miners? Right. So, following Ethereum's approach, it's in a different way. Memory requirements of proof of work algorithm auto likes to are growing with time. So every 3 months, roughly, memory requirements. Size of a table, an algorithm is searching through is growing by 5%, and initial size was a bit less than 2 GB, if my memory serves me well. And this year, so I guess in a few months, it will be more than 4 GB. It means that for some cards, inbuilt memory be enough. Right, but it seems there are already some solutions around. Nanominer, for example, is already supporting less performant, but still possible work with data set of more than 4 GB on GPUs, which do have 4 GB of RAM. Right. So basically, what the algorithm is doing allows to find a solution to proof of work. Right, you are starting with some random number, and you are filling a huge table. You are filling every row of it with pseudo-random number derived from initial random seed, right? And then you are trying to find in that huge table some number of rows which sum is less than difficulty value, basically, right? And by changing this target value, you are changing difficulty of finding a proof of work solution. But basically, proof of work algorithm is simple, and it's well-known K sum problem in mathematics, and it's proven to be NP hard. And for parameters which are using, there is no any known way to reduce number of computations. All right, and this table is also growing with time to tackle with specialized hardware, because once you have fixed memory requirements, you can leave needed amount of space on a chip for memory, right? And fill the rest with computation related stuff. So basically doing ASIC with fixed memory. But so when memory is growing, space requirements on chip also growing with time, and that helps with tackling with ASICs in particular. All right, so
Well, and the one thing too is with the prevalence of dual mining, once we get across 4, does that restrict any dual mining pairs? I don't think it does for any of the popular ones, but that's something that also can occur. Is you run out of space on the card to dual mine if the other pair of it is pushing you above the memory on that card. At least I've run into that, I think, once before with Conflux. Like a couple years ago, they went across and you couldn't dual mine on certain cards with Conflux anymore. You ran out of memory. So,
all right. Next question. First, some remark by TCFM. Those who do not learn from the past are doomed to repeat it. No doubt. Well, when you, for example, bought what at the top, it's better not to do this again, right, in future and so on. The question is if you are deriving a strategy from what was observed in the past. Can it work in future with needed performance, right? When we are talking about tech analysis that's needed. I'm not sure about that. That definitely, history repeats, but when you are doing tech analysis and when you need for some concrete performance, when you need to earn money, you need for more concrete things. So you need to know when it will be, when a concrete pattern will be repeated, right, and how exactly.
It repeats, otherwise, but the flavor can be different for sure. The way it repeats.
I'm a bit skeptical about this, but I'm not trader, so maybe it can work for someone.
I'm an awful trader, so it's not anything I do.
All right, so let me take one more maybe. Please ask Kenan.
Well, the one on the risks on the lending on DeFi protocols on Erg, I've been fielding that question or seeing that a lot lately with the folks coming in from Cardano side, trying to understand it a little bit more. In duck pools, there's collateral. I think on SigmaFi, there's collateral as well there. I'm not as familiar on SigmaFi if that collateral is called at a certain threshold or if that's just your collateral for the period of the loan. I haven't done any of those loans yet. But for duck pools, I think you'd have to have a flash crash to really have any effect on your lending into the pools. And there's always the smart contract risk. But hopefully if they've all been audited, that should be mitigated there on the smart contract side. Are you active on the Signify, uh, Alex? I haven't interacted with it enough to be able to answer on that one.
Uh, yeah, so I took some loans and also provided some loans. Actually, Sigma is maybe especially to me because, well, I can put me only, well, into things I do fully understand. And, well, in this regard, Sigma 5 was kind of clear, right? Well, you know, well, blockchain rights and tokens, and then well, contracts. Well, are just working how they're written, and well, contracts are to peer. So, well, I know how the parties. So, well, that's kind of perfect environment for me. And so, yeah, well, I'm providing loans sometimes. Well, I'm not well big there, but well, yeah, I'm I do love Sigma 5 actually, and well, experimenting with it. But
So if you were to,
what
if I were to,
what's
if I were to put up collateral on Signify, say I said 100 Sig USD to borrow, I don't know, 50 ERG. And that's a bad example. Let me put up Rosen against ERG. If the Rosen collapses below the value of the ERG I've borrowed, do you have the option to just collapse that loan or cancel that loan and take my collateral, or what's the
no.
mechanism there?
No, so the liquidations, and that's also a reason why I like Sigma 5 basically. When you take right, there is no risk of liquidations. And when you provide a loan, then, well, yeah, you need to check collateral carefully. So usually I'm, well, providing just CQSD when, well, ERC is there. And if the loan is not paid, then it's basically working like options, right? So basically, someone is offering you to buy, well, ERCs with discount to current price, but with delivery in future, right?
Right.
But yeah, if loan is repaid, then yeah, it's like loan. And well, this well, option style behavior is also quite interesting, and yeah, actually, I like it because, well, risk profile is quite clear, right? So, yeah, yeah. Well, there were some heated discussions, and Cheese had a plan to add liquidations, but to me, well, it's good. Good kind of financial tooling even without them. And for liquidations, well, there are dark pools.
Okay. So you're treating Sigma 5 purely then as an option, effectively. I mean, uh, in a sense, discount on future cash. That's cool.
Right. Yeah. So I'm considering, yeah, these loans as options as well, essentially.
Gotcha.
All right. Let me check the questions. Uh, uh, Yeah, let me take this one. Will Sahar be unbanned for baseless by Kotler? Um, I think no. So, well, recently, yeah, there was a bit of action in Erg baseless group, but not much actually. So just three accounts were banned for well promoting pump and dump schemes, right? And well, some tokens. So well, some of three accounts: AKM, Sergey PC, and Sahar. Sergey PC actually did pump and dump advertisements, well, more or less in Fonto style, if anyone was. So it was kind of father of pumps and dumps, maybe in the space. So it was like 2013 BTC exchange. So it had chat directly on the exchange website. And well, it was full with just backshilling, right? Very insane, kind of. So it was more insane than those guys in business. And there was a guy, Fontas, who well, started to announce pumps, for example, right? Like, well, I will do a pump of a secret coin at that time. Stay tuned. And then, well, at pronounced time, so he started to pump something, and it was like 15 or 20 minutes. Pump and dump, and back then, well, there was liquidity, so it was possible to Bitcoin even by like 30 to 40% a day. And for those altcoins, he used like Feathercoin, Novacoin, and so on. So, well, it was possible to move them like 5x in 15 minutes. And yeah, some media, big media, did write about him. Maybe Forbes, something like that. So something big. And then the guy, so he was in the US, so he got a letter from SEC and disappeared. Maybe appeared under other names. So yeah, well, basically what those guys did was not very different. So just, well, killing the backs, right, and well, promoting pump and dump schemes, but well, it's not appropriate place probably to well spam with pump and dump and Ponzi schemes advertisements.
Yeah, one thing, and you don't have to bring up the question, but somebody, and I saw in a bunch of chats recently that, sometimes folks says price doesn't matter, it matters to the community. Obviously it matters to the community, but I think for me, you got to look at the overall and the trajectory of it. And if you look at some of the dev reports that are out there on Erg versus other chains, I gotta think if we're in the top 100 on the dev side, and a couple asked about, our price versus other coins or chains prices. I mean, it's going to be the technology and the usability that wins out in the long run. So yeah, I mean, price helps the devs, So I think saying price doesn't matter is sort of a double-edged sword. That's my personal opinion. Obviously, if we're trying to keep devs around and fund devs, they need a way to get funded. If they're not, you know, doing this as a side gig. So anyway, trying to directly answer that question without really going into it too far. Um, and I'm interested to see about your dev DAO and some of the other, you know, other ways projects have been giving back to the Ergo Foundation and how that can be used to help out, you know, devs in the future. So.
All right. So maybe a corresponding question to what you've said right now. Let me find it. Augustus Kent. Do we are on the cusp of another big bull run? And if so, will we see a big influx of developers, builders? No one knows the future, right? So, as a developer, I don't know if bull run is coming. And I'm also a bit skeptical actually about all those expected repetition of cycles, right? Like have crypto winter and then bull run. So at some points, there was. Initially it wasn't the case, maybe even so back in 2020, 2013. So, when I just came into the space, so it was very chaotic. Volatility was like 40% a day. So I don't know about crypto winter or bull run back then. But yeah, then there were certainly a few runs, especially autumn 2013, right? And then when 2017 and 2021, right? And there was definitely a big depression in 2014. 15. But anyway, so we built a lot of things back then. When you're developing, it's perspective. There was very full, I believe, crypto winter back in 2019, right, when Ergo was launched. So, it was actually very hard to do anything back then when, nothing, no one was interested in nothing, right, basically. Community rates little by little back in 2019, and huge efforts done to build anything. But anyway, so we got a lot of things anyway. Back in 2019 and 2020, but then there was a bull run of 2021, right? And if there could be potentially a repetition of it, then that's for reasons why I'm in rush to do things with devs DAO, organizing process and offloading, because that bull run Well, actually, it was very hard because of huge influx of developers, right? And well, it was needed to watch our 20 things in parallel, and well, also help people around. I did try to help, but well, it was hard to do anything, right? Even to find time to sleep well, or to sleep even. Right. So, well, that's why it's very important to organize things right now, right, and to be prepared for everything. Been in a big influx
Yeah, I
or
think
not, but well. Yeah, well, anyway, I think, what's needed right now is to, well, scale the things in the development process, right? So, to, finally organize process of, well, composing and accepting this APs, ergo improvement proposals, right? To, well, decide to do with export, because well, the current EF maintain one is definitely not good, so there are some alternatives. It's worth to support some alternative, just switch to it, right, and so put it on EF servers and so on. And yeah, lots of things with core development and so on. So a lot of efforts we put right now to, well, improve visibility, transparency, making things ready to thousands of new developers even. Sorry, Kenan.
no, it's okay. Shit, I'm just a guy. You actually know the coding, man. The If you look back at some of the historical stuff on the devs, the ECC report, I mean, it spikes when everybody else spikes. I mean, yes, if there's a bull run, yes, there will be more developers because there's more opportunity for the developers to create products that, help them with their wallets as well. But I've been thoroughly impressed with, I mean, all the dev updates every week that you guys are running on Wednesdays. Hey, what's going on? I mean, there's just amazing every week. I mean, I see someone saying in here, when are we getting new exchanges? All this. Go look at what the devs are doing. I mean, it's impressive. I mean, trying to make the tooling for the next bull run, and really, regardless of the bull run, the next platform. How to make existing platforms better. But yeah, is there going to be another bull run? I don't know. There's some theories out there regarding the ETFs flowing money into Bitcoin. And what's that going to do? If that's going to stifle a bull run or create one. I think it's a little hard to know at this point, but I think we have new developers, every quarter. It seems like there's a new developer throwing up a side project that no one even knew was happening. And I think that's interesting given the quote crypto winter right now.
Yeah, and well, I'm seeing raising interest from developers, right? So, well, in many cases, developers are just users around, right? So, well, among people who are coding or doing anything else in the IT industry. Usage of cryptocurrencies among them is high, right? So, well, I'm seeing a lot of things like developers are using crypto, right, for personal payments to repay personal debts to each other. They're also interested in tech, right? So they are often sticking to proof of work, right? Because they do understand what's the value behind. Many are mining and so on, and at some point. Maybe it's corresponding with price cycles, likely is, and that's why I agree that price does matter. So they're getting more interested in contributing, right, and they are coming. They always a lot of developers around in sleep mode, actually, because they are doing full-time jobs and so on. But then, at some point, they are turning to contribution, it's probably related with price, but I need to check my memory for detailed answer. All right, so
I'd like to clarify one thing. I wasn't someone, I'm seeing it recurring in chats and then on here. I'm not saying exchanges aren't important. I'm not sure what exchanges are going to bring. Honestly, it's an ongoing cost burden that I don't think people realize. It's a burden to the community, whether it be through the Ergo Foundation or the SIGs, to come up with monthly recurring cost to maintain the listings. And I think if you step back and grab 4 or 5 proof of work pairs, compare them to Ergo for the last 2 or 3 years, that have been around for 2 or 3 years, all move in a similar cycle. We have less volume now. Does less volume on exchanges keep out some people? Possibly, but I always get back to I think the execx, or however the hell you pronounce that one. I think that's one of the bigger listings we're going to have if we market it properly in the places where people are mining other coins that they're really just mining them to make profit. They're dumping it probably into BTC, but why not Erg, right? Let's show them some of the stuff that's out here. That's where I'm coming from. I'm trying to figure out how to, one of the things I've charged myself with, no one's charged me with it, but it's what I'm trying to figure out, is how do we reduce the burden of this ongoing cost of maintaining centralized exchange listings until Rosen and some of these other great tools allow us to have DEX volume to where it doesn't really matter as much being on the centralized exchanges. So anyway, I think it's a good question, but I don't think being on a certain centralized exchange is going to pop price. I think price is going to come with access. And so I think you said it earlier, Alex, it's chicken and egg, but I think some of the new opportunities already from Rosen are creating interest and creating people coming into the community, that weren't here even, 4 or 6 months ago prior to the Rosen launch. So that's where I'm trying to advocate versus, spending on centralized exchange listings. I think they're necessary, but I'd rather go spend 100,000 Ergo on developers than on an exchange personally.
Listings do matter, but what does matter more is liquidity, right? So, So, I started to check this recently as well, and even put something personally into non-KYC pools, right? And yeah, liquidity. Yeah, let me check even. So yeah, it's improving, but still there are some exchanges. Yeah, well, it can be improved, and there are some easy ways, right, to earn money here even. And I'm asking the people in the trading channel why they're not doing that. So, for example, there are exchanges with pretty big spread still, and not that bad volume like Ergo, for example, right? And what's possible to do is to restream liquidity from exchanges with better spread, like CoinX or KuCoin. Well, CoinX usually has just 0.2% spread, right? So, well, you can just restream liquidity on Ergo. If Hummingbot has this liquidity mirroring strategy, but yeah, Hummingbots likely support Ergo. So I just briefly checked Hummingbots over some weekend. Yeah, not sure about Ergo, but anyway, so by restreaming liquidity with some premium, you can just earn easy arbitrage money, right? And also provide liquidity to people which do like to buy in anonymous way. So actually, Ergo sometimes has very big volume, right? Because it has a lot of anonymous traders, big traders often even. And then then there are exchanges like Indodax even, right? So with a good order book, I think it's can have much bigger volume. And so on. So, yeah, with improved liquidity, it's easier to get on exchanges because usually the first thing every exchange is looking at, unfortunately, is volume. Right, so it's again chicken and egg. So
Yeah. Unfortunately.
For bigger volume, you need for listings, and for listings you need for bigger volume. But currently there are already a lot of markets and pairs. So on CoinGecko there are 32 pairs, right? And so it's possible to improve liquidity with this set, and then it would be easier to get listed. And currently CoinGecko is counting Spectrum Finance as well. So then providing liquidity on Spectrum is also helping to get on centralized exchanges, right? After all.
Yeah. And that's been one of the recent conversations, is how to get the RS Erg listed on there so that that's getting captured from some of the Cardano DeFi side.
No,
so that trading volume is on there.
Yeah, so if RS Ergo can be counted as well, that would mean bigger volume, right, on CoinGecko as well. Means also new listings. So I think if the volume can be improved by like 3 for X, well, it will be possible to get free listings again, right? Just one after another. And I don't know, so people are usually asking for Binance trade, but from what I know about Binance, you need to put like, so I don't know about now, but a few years ago, I know some people from Binance, and they told me that you need to put like 100 BTC into market making. So then, yeah, well,
no problem. Let me just get that for you. Yeah.
Yeah, and usually, so Binance is asking for another big exchange to list Erg first. So, and other exchanges are asking for Binance. So that was the case. So, back in 2019, Binance told us basically to first get listed on something like OKX, and then when we were in talks with FTX, so they told us to get on Binance first, right? But happily, yeah, we didn't get on FTX. All right, so I'm again not proficient in all that stuff, but I think sometime it would be enough to just get listed right on not so big, but yeah, nice and clean exchanges, and necessarily improve liquidity right in the first place. And then be the listings on something like Binance will be possible if Binance will exist still. So I'm not sure about that part even. Because in this field of centralized exchanges, there is also big volatility, let's say. So I don't see biggest exchanges of 2014 around. Right. Maybe Gate are still alive, but not. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think one of the other things just to let people know about is there's a good in Discord and Telegram, but on Discord, I think you can find it pretty easy. The yield chat on how to make yield off of your erg. I think maybe people can start diving into some of the opportunities Alex was just talking about on, just putting LP into CoinX, or even better, some of the smaller ones that have lower volume so that they can have volume. I mean, it's, I see someone asking the question, how do I do it? Let's, I'd say start bugging people and figure out how to do it. So, all right. So anyway, it's been an hour and a half almost. I appreciate you guys for joining us. Do you have anything else?
Yeah, it's now needed to finish it.
Yeah,
out of time.
So
all right, so thank you everyone. Thank you, Kenan.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me, guys. So hope it was decent.
Maybe we will see you again at some point.
All right, sounds good. Hey, thank you so much. Thanks everybody for listening.
Right.